Public Works meeting for Wednesday, May 28th, 2025 to order. Roll call, we have everybody here except for trustee Zerflu. He is excused, and sitting in his place is trustee Hall. I will make a motion to approve the agenda and the April 23rd minutes. You have a second?
I'll second.
You have first and a second. Any discussion on any of those? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes. Chairman comments. I do have a question, and I don't know. It'll be in your public report, but I saw today on Facebook that there was a survey.
I can bring it through a report. Can we talk about it now or?
Is that something you brought up?
No, that was something North Central come to us. Basically through the school district and other things it's all part of the grant system. They're helping us out, try to get some information on the monkey survey to get some information to help us apply for a grant, which would be around the school for the roads, sidewalks, funding around those items. So,
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments on anything before we get into the report? Right, number 7, Department of Public Works report, Ben.
so that was one of my first topics is, basically, we have a, Survey Monkey out there. And like I said, the village has no, or I'm not running it, I'm not collecting the data, I'm doing anything, I'm passing the information from the North Central, Association. It's basically asking questions on more for kids, what kids, do the kids bike to school, do their parents drop them off, how many vehicles are traveling the roads by the schools, are our sidewalks adequate by the school, just trying to get some information if we need to improve our sidewalks, improve our roads, and try to, get some grant money. The state is doing quite a bit now with safety, with schools and events. They're doing quite a bit of money out there to try to improve the safety of kids walking to school, biking to school, around the school zone. So it's something that, we'll see if we can get some information and we can apply for some grants to see if we can get some funding for Fish Street, Second Street, definitely the roads by the school district.
Who was that conducted by?
North Central. Exact person here.
That's fine, North Central.
No, I'll get you there. Yeah, in here.
Seriously, right down the way.
This should be by North Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. So like I said, they'll tally up all the information. I think the survey runs through June 8th. So at the next public works meeting, we'll have a report. I'll even see if I can get them to come down and, give you their spiel. Other public works, we're up and going, doing our brush, grass, cleanup like normal. Parks are getting mowed, grass is growing, cemetery, obviously, definitely plenty busy this time of year, keeping everything going. We've made a little street sweeping around town a couple times. We had a big tree planting, planted over 40 some trees in the village, through the DNR grant that we received last year. So that was some big improvements. Today we had MSTC here and did a 4-hour presentation on tree pruning and chainsaw safety. It was all part of the DNR grant and we applied for safety. So it's a good day for that. Wasn't kept it from mowing grass and things like that. So the guys did a little safety presentation with MSTC. So got that wrapped up today. Next week, Monday, we go start our 410s. So that's a 6 to 4 we run. Obviously on Fridays, myself and one of the wastewater operators are here. So we eliminate any overtime. If there's things to do on Fridays, there's still 2 people here to maintenance the things we need to take care of. Both summer help are on staff. So that's helping with mowing of the grass, chipping the brush, and odds and ends projects that we do throughout the village. So a little bit of our summer project list here. Obviously in May, we worked with Precision Grading, relocate some fire hydrants, fixed the main water valve at the tower. Did a cleaning of that last week. Everything went good. A couple of valves broke when they're changing. Anytime we were dealing with water, we know a couple of valves broke. So I think we're hoping for 10,000. I think we're gonna be a little over that, but everything did go as planned. The relocation of the new hydrant on Pleasant View that was leaking, no issues there other than the groundwater. So everything is up and working. I believe the water system, I'm hoping that we don't have to touch it the rest of the summer. As we all know, when you start touching valves and hydrants, we end up with broken parts and dirty water and other things. So I think everything's up and replaced. I know uh, by Edgewater Haven, they replaced that, finished that tie into the new broken water line up there onto Bruner Avenue. So that's completed. So I think we're in good shape there. Summer's coming, or June's coming here. We're gonna do some water main break asphalt replacement patches. Hopefully you're gonna be starting next week. Chip seal preparation is gonna be in place in this month coming up in June. The TIF project, Second Street project, we're meeting, tomorrow with the contractor, and hopefully we can schedule a project meeting with the residents down at the shelter here in the next couple weeks. Inform them how the project's gonna go for garbage pickup, grass pickup, in and out of their homes and parking and things like that. So hoping we can get that date set tomorrow and get that meeting scheduled. Ripple Creek, obviously, I think months ago I talked to you guys about, we were doing some DNR work on the pond itself. The paperwork has been submitted to classify the Ripple Creek Pond with the DNR. We expect to have all the paperwork completed and ready to go for August. But in the meantime, we're gonna be able to start on working on the riprap on the south wall. And then we're gonna start preparation for the milling and the paving for Bunker Avenue from Brentwood to Fish Street. We're looking to be milling and paving, like I said, end of June, probably early July is realistic. We got some shoulder work to do with the rainouts and things like that over the summer and the spring here, so we will be doing some shoulder work. And obviously bike trail construction is in full swing here. The next couple of weeks we'll be getting after that. In July, we do our chip seal project. We always wait till it gets a little warmer, so when we lay the chip seal down, we get a good bedding of the rocks into the black. Crack filling be performed at the cemetery, sewage plant, and I think 4th Street North End. We've got some cracks that we're gonna fill. Obviously, like I said, the milling, the paving of a Bunker Avenue. We got some catch basins to rebuild on for Bunker before we repave that, so we'll be doing that all early July. In August, we'll be doing the culvert lining at Ripple Creek, so we'll have all the DNR paperwork. And be painting for Bunker Avenue with the bike lane and things like that back on that road. And then we'll do our yearly road painting around the schools and other areas. So this is just a rough schedule what we have planned for this summer. Most of the parts are here for all the projects. Contracts have been signed and ready to go with the chip sealing, crack filling, blacktopping, so everything looks to be within budget, what we have planned required for this summer. Any questions on any of the projects or events that are gonna happen?
So I got a question on the bike path. Now, the bike path is coming up through for Bunker.
Yep.
So the white lines, the fog lines that are
Yep.
there, that's the path one way or the other?
That's before my time, that's what I was been told. Those lines have been painted prior to that, and I believe prior, and I can look at prior administration always painted those white lines for a bike lane. We never put a bike symbol or nothing in those areas, if that's what you're getting to.
Well, the question is, it seems like at the south side, the south end, at the end
Yep.
by Fort Road,
Yep.
there's a lot of cars parked out there.
Okay.
Which would technically be in that, I mean, it's not that big a deal, but if that's truly the bike path, are we gonna still allow cars to park there all the way down? Or are we gonna deem that a bike path and paint like we did over here at the fire station?
I know our ordinance does not, and maybe Mr. Radke can, but I know our ordinance does not say no parking. Cars cannot, we don't have it. Parking is legal on Bunker on the white lane, so you are correct how the white line is painted, but our ordinance does not read that cars cannot park there, so we'd have to change our village ordinance to say no parking if that's what we're gonna do. I guess I remember a long time ago, I think Roland and some board members on, and we painted that line, 'cause for the longest time, it was a big wide road, and there was concerns about people biking for cars, so we painted the white line, but we never really wrote anything of an enforcement or how we were gonna, what we're gonna call the white line, right? We called the white line, and I think it was considered that cars did not go in there, veer them when they were driving down for Bunker, but parking was still allowed in there, so I can look at our ordinances and bring them back to you guys, but I believe that's not in there.
No, it's not. I guess what I would think is we see how much bike traffic we're gonna get on that road after that path is finished. Maybe do a survey, have the police department do a survey or whom. And if we have to, just designate one side of that road for bike traffic and not the other side. So we can still have residents park there. But then we would have one side designated, if that's something that the whole board would want to do or look at, and depending on the usage of that bike path, I guess I don't know how much usage we'll get. I mean, if we have quite a bit and we start having issues, I think then we'll have to address it sooner than later.
It's just a question. I'll address.
No, very good question.
Only at that end, there's a lot of traffic.
Yes.
And it is what it is.
No.
It's,
I'll clarify the ordinances and bring them back next month, but I believe it's not in there and,
You're right, it is.
and I believe the white line was just, we said we're gonna paint, I don't believe there's no, the rhyme or reason was that we don't wanna make sure cars were staying in the middle of the road and not driving there is how the white line was put in place, I believe almost 15 some years ago.
Well, it actually was, it wasn't so much the cars, it was people that were biking from the neighborhoods and the kids to keep them closer to not going out to the middle of the road when we have, for Bunker is a 25-mile-an-hour zone, but it's a long stretch. And, you know, we wanted to have safety of the kids to actually stay closer to the curb than dart out in the road.
cause we will have the opportunity, it's getting chip sealed, right?
We're gonna be repaving that
So we will have the opportunity to paint it or not paint it, depending on whatever.
from Brentwood to Fish Street would be painted. It'll still be from Port Road to Brentwood would still be painted already. We're not taking up that piece from Port Road to Brentwood.
That's not gonna chip seal?
No. For Millennium
But in the
paving.
future?
Correct.
It could happen if they don't want it or what.
Yeah.
Just something to earmark.
No, very good idea. I'll definitely get the information on that. So the next information I brought to you guys last month is our garbage recycling contract is up. What I've had two interest parties, the one we have now in a different company, reach out to me and ask when we're gonna be sending out bids. I kind of do just a little cover sheet, you know, some items, a 5-year contract, that way we know year to year for taxes, what we need to put on those. Obviously, we have 791 residents that have 96 gallon garbage and recycling cans. We have 2-yard dumpsters at the parks. We do garbage once a week, recycling every other week, bulk pickup once a month. Garbage collection company responsible for the maintenance of the carts. Them are just some high points. Obviously, there's a lot more when you get into the actual agreement, you know, different waste and times and holidays and responsibility if they miss them to make sure they come back. I mean, that's all included in this contract, which both companies, I believe, have these same contracts in place. So what I would like to be doing is send this cover letter out to both of the contractors and have them by July give us a bid and come to the July Public Works meeting and present their spiel on why we should, what company we should go with.
Sealed bid, right? Open them up there and like.
Yeah, we can have a sealed bid, yeah. I'd have,
It's only 2 people, but.
yes,
It's over 25,000.
so for sure, yeah, so we'll have a sealed bid and I'll, you know, if we can set that July date tonight, even though I know it's 2 months away, that'd be great, then I could have those due that night, cause some people would like to walk in here and hand you their bid and not send it to the village prior to that.
Okay.
And I don't, you know, not saying that night we need to make a motion to approve it, but at least them to come here and, give their spiel and you can open up the prices.
Okay, so if we were to pivot to a different company, what happens to the carts? They gotta go come around and pick all of them up and then we get new ones?
Yeah, so I've done some research. I mean, obviously the main thing is no matter who gets this, the tippage has to go through Waste Management because it has to go to your local landfill. So no matter what company gets it, the tippage will stay the same. I did reach out to, I think it was Nacita switch companies. And, you know, it's trying because they had to basically at January 1st, everybody put their cans out there. The garbage company coming around, picked up the garbage December 31st, and then the new company had to drop the cans January 1st. So you're switching out the cans. So it would definitely be confusion because you'll be getting new cans January 1st and the old ones will be getting picked up.
Potentially.
I guess that's gonna be up to the bidders who have cans out there already compared to have new cans of what the price that's gonna be. But yes, I mean, it happens. And like I said, I've talked to some other municipalities, because that was one of my concerns is getting people, you know, especially we've got people in town or whatever that don't always live here and trying to get the new cans and the old cans, there'll be a lot of
Some
back
cans
and
from
forth.
Rapids
Yeah,
that are old.
so I guess that'll just be the luck of the draw, whatever. So it'll definitely be some, I know the cans we have now, I did talk to both companies, and some of the cans that people have now need replacement too. So that will make sure that whenever this comes out, if we stay with this company or go to a new company, that they fix up the cans we have. I do get calls from residents, the wheels are getting old or this and that. I mean, they're going on 10 years old, so we've definitely got to wear out of our
Yeah,
cans.
You have cans out in Epco, right? The blue and gray ones like.
Yeah, mostly old ones. I do have a question. For the new company, are you including like a map so they are aware of the range that they would have to go? I mean, I'm sure the company does now, but they're aware that.
Yep, we wear that, yep.
there's,
Yeah, we have a full map of Nepco, Lake Road, East Shore Drive and all of them, so. You know, and we're obviously, I've talked to them, you know, we're trying to get them right now. We're not on the same date. I'm really gonna try. Be nice to be on the same date. It's just confusion. We've got two different calendars that Kim and Diane have to deal with. It's not all pick up the same. So we're gonna try to get that. We're all village residents, we picked up the same day, but
So when Nepco came back to port, they didn't get the new carts, they had whatever, or were they contracted by the same company?
they were contracted by the same
So
company.
they had the same.
But what happened is Saratoga didn't have cans either. Saratoga did bags, so I believe you guys did bags for the longest time, and the cans just came in the last 2 years, 1 or 2 years. Originally, you could just put a bag out there, so Saratoga just changed a year ago. So at the same time, the village came into place, so did the carts. So otherwise, it was always just loose trash. I know that's a concern we get, you know, there's a lot of people that don't like our cans, especially weekend people that come here and that want to they used to set their garbage out there on Sunday when they left to go back home. And it would get picked up. Now they've got a can that sits out there all week unless they have a neighbor that rolls the can back in. Because if they're not here during the week, the can sits there all week.
That's it. Just for the NEPCO, that's a minor issue because the people in the community take care of that. If I see a can out on Tuesday that hasn't been pulled in, I mean, there are a lot of us that just roll it down the driveway,
So
so.
we appreciate it because I know that was a lot. We got a lot of calls earlier when this happened. You know, they were not excited about leaving a can out there. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, well, take care of that complaint.
Thank you.
Do we want to set a date for July so these kids can come in so they have time, or
You know what you're doing next week?
do I do?
It's one of us.
I'm just looking tentatively, but I don't know, the 23rd.
I would say that we'd probably give them all the way to the end of July meeting. I don't mean to be that way, but I think we'd want to give them. I meant the July, so actually this would be an August meeting.
Jesus.
So that's my only thing about it. I'd like to present you the numbers, but we might have to just put a July 15th date on there and have them send them to the village and we can open up here.
Yeah.
Cause I'd like to give them 30 days to be able to bid this. I think that's only fair. So my goal was to have them bring bids and then the end of July board meeting, you guys would vote on it. We'd open them up in July, discuss it in August, and then September we'd vote on it, cause it's not due until, we don't need information for the taxes until October. So in September, I'd like to vote for it. But then at the July meeting, I'd like those guys to come here and present it to you. So we're actually two public works meetings away, if that makes sense. So I think I'm just gonna set it for July 15th. And then if we have a meeting July 28th that week, I'll just keep them sealed. You okay with that,
Yeah.
Chairman?
So July, what are we meeting on the 4th? So the 23rd, would that be right?
We stayed the same, it'd be July 23rd.
If we
Yeah,
did
it'd be
it.
the same, but
It's up to you guys if we wanna put that on there, just put July 15th and
just to have the bids back by July 15th.
yes, and I'll just keep them in the safe or whatever and we can open them up here.
Okay, yeah, the bids
I
will
don't think we
be
need to
due
meet.
on the 15th. We don't need to be here for that.
No.
Then we'll open them up on the 23rd.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
But I don't really know what the time's gonna be on the 23rd because of Parks is
Yeah, so we'll just
going around or
We'll
whatever.
just set the date for July 15th, and then when we get closer, I'll send out the date to the committee member. Next month, we can set that date so I can let the contractors know.
Okay, so the contract that like Cornman signed,
Yep.
that was a 10-year contract?
Yep.
So now we're going down to a 5?
Just some talks from everybody in other townships. Nobody's gonna give us a 10-year.
We get a deal on 5, or is it just, this is our yearly price, you wanna sign a 5, or you wanna sign a 10 or a 20, and it's still gonna be that price times 5, 10, 20?
I've, like I said, talked to other communities and nobody seems to do a 5. Nobody seemed to do a 10. I think that was just, lucky that we got a 10. You know, we can try for 10. You want me to rewrite this for 10? That's up to you guys, but 5 seems to be the most common.
Ask for 5 and 10 and see if there's a discount for 10.
Okay, no, I can do that. No problem, 5 or 10.
It's probably good that we have 2 bidders too, so they'll
Yeah, as long as they have the same
serve it.
information and service, it's apples to apples and.
Nope.
Sign in.
Sounds good. Utility update, so this is kind of 2-part, the water, it's a water report, we do this every year, this gets attached to our website, and also gets attached to the water bill that comes out in June, or June for July for the second quarter, just explains what our water is. No issues this year, all the tests passed. Unless anybody's seen the issues, I don't really have, really don't ever go through it, just by the state law, we have to show this documentation for all of the public to see how our water is. And with that, we do our yearly compliance maintenance and a report for a wastewater plant. I've attached here, the resolution, and behind that, you'll see our grading. How Ken and Jason, basically, Ken runs the plant, Jason does help out. No issues, A's throughout everything. That's in good shape and operating. And we need to, we look for you guys to pass the resolution to bring to the board, so we can get this completed and sent back to the DNR.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2025-01, the 2024 wastewater compliance maintenance annual report.
I'll second it.
So we got a first and a second, any discussion or questions on it? I will say that for a second, without hearing any, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, that passes. I would like to commend, and then Jason for doing that. I mean, straight A's across the board, you as well. So just let those guys know, on top of all the public works employees,
I appreciate it.
they're doing a great job.
Like I said, both of those guys, you know, the water, you know, we flushed the hydrants, got the water tower cleaned out. A lot of responsibility for both of them guys. And they do a good job and take their job, seriously, and everybody else does help in. I know we had some cleaning the other day, and everybody helps in to make sure that those, areas get taken care of.
All right, anything else?
Oh, no, that's all I have.
Okay, anybody, number 8, anybody got any old business? New business?
No.
Anybody received any correspondence? I did not.
No.
Agenda items for next meeting.
We'll just keep, basically be an update of the projects, but then hopefully we'll have some better ideas going on. Garbage and recycle, nothing with that contract for to the following meeting. So that's all I really have. We're trying to work with MSA. I've talked to you guys about future projects, the 2nd Street starting here at the municipal building, running all the way up to Bunker Avenue. There's a lot of grant stuff coming out through with lead and different things. I'm trying to get some stuff put together with MSA and have them come and give you guys the presentation. As we all know, budgets get tighter. I keep presenting to you guys that our utilities need to be able to pay for street projects. You know, we can't seem to, our budget doesn't let us put money away for street projects. You know, a half a block is $500,000 nowadays, as we're all aware of, which we can't fund that. So to get creative in the future, to keep some of our water and sewer, to get up to maintenance and compliance, we're gonna have to be creative with Clean Water Act, loans, grants, other things. And we experimented that with the wastewater plant, that went good. But try to see if we can't find a way to get one of those loans with some grant money, and our utilities can pay at least half to 3/4 of that loan payment per year, and the streets and roads would pay the rest. When you do a road project, the water and the sewer is over half to 3/4 of the price of the project. The blacktop, the sidewalks, and the concrete, are really minimal. It's the underground infrastructure that costs the money, so. With the wastewater being first year, the loan paying, we're gonna see how we're doing product wise and see what our budgets look like, so. Come August and September, I really wanna sit and hone down where we're at, you know, we don't wanna increase our utilities, we're all aware of that. But see where we're at last year, we did raise up the water last year, try to see, make sure we can stay within the numbers we have now and be able to afford some projects.
One thing that I'd request is the updated, budget, like what you burned so far and how much is left. It'll be the end of the second quarter.
Yep.
So just kind of a review of what we're at.
Yeah.
Financially.
Absolutely, for sure.
Does anybody have anything else? Nope. Meeting date, we're thinking the 25th of June, the fourth weekend,
Same time, 5?
5. Public safety is at 4:30. We could do 5. But we're pretty good.
Works for me.
Okay, and with saying that, if we're all good, I will adjourn the meeting at 5:20.